So let's start off with a recurring issue, talking about the tax reform controversy, which is still lingering. Well, the federal government's proposed tax reform bills, championed by the President Bola Tinubu, has sparked nationwide debate, with influential northern leaders strongly opposing the bill, fearing it could worsen regional disparities. The key critics, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, as well as Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, and former Sokoto State Governor Aminu, Tambuwal, have all expressed concerns about the bill's socioeconomic impact on the northern region. The proposed bill, or the proposed tax reforms, aim to simplify Nigeria's tax system, reduce the burden on small businesses, and streamline tax collection. Amid growing pressure from northern governors and 73 northern lawmakers, the House of Representatives has indefinitely suspended the debate on the bill. Of course, there is still so much more happening. The Senate is also speaking on this issue too, saying this bill has not been withdrawn amid these speculations earlier in the week. But let's get some more perspectives on this. With us in the studio is policy analyst Yusuf Harun. Good morning and welcome to the program.
A very good morning to you. Good morning.
Right. Yes, I know you must be mindful of the heres and theirs of all the issues regarding the bill, but from what you know, what issues, if any, do you have about these tax reform bills?
Yes, thank you very much for this question. It has some positives and it also has some setbacks. So I'm going to start with the positive. Any prosperous nation in the world needs tax to survive, especially in Nigeria. Let us look at Nigeria, for example. The federal allocation has increased by over 1.17% between 2023 to 2024. So the governor of Nasarawa State, Governor Sule, even came out to admit the increase in the allocation from the federal government. And when there's an increase in allocation, if there are no taxes to certain products, there could also be hyperinflation in the country. Secondly is that if we look at the United States, for example, or the Europe, United Kingdom and the European countries, they also survive on taxation. Lagos, as a template, has also been living on tax, and that's why we've been prosperous. So I believe the tax reform bill has some good sides and benefits. But the setbacks in which many people have is that the orientation in it, many of them are not well oriented about it. For example, there was a senator in Borno who came out and just said it is dead on arrival. And he was asked, have you read this bill? He said, no, he hasn't read it. So many people are ignorant about this bill, and this is part of the setback. But on a global scale, or in summary, I think this tax reform bill is going to be beneficial if it is well done. However, I understand that the president of the country, President Tinubu, has also ordered the Attorney General of the Federation to put a hold on it and organize a series of town hall meetings, which have been done. One was done in Kogi State. Some have been done where even the governor of Nasarawa State attended virtually. I believe there should be more orientation about tax reform bills. And another suggestion I have is that there should be something we call tax return. This is something done in the United States.
Mr. Harun, we'll go to all the various suggestions that you'll be giving us on the program that will help in ensuring that this bill is sellable to Nigerians. But some lawmakers have questioned the issue of timing at this time. How do you look at the timing of these bills, considering the economic challenges that we are facing in the country?
I quite agree with what these senators and even some of the governors are questioning, especially in the north, because cost of food is really increasing, is rising. People are complaining of economic challenges. I believe also that the government, federal government, including the Attorney General and also the Ministry of Finance, should make a proper timing before this kind of reform bill can be sellable. So they should make some cushions. I'll give an example, and that's why I was coming into tax returns. In the United States of America, between January to April, there's a time where you file taxes. The problem I want to point out is that taxes should be done more on the billionaires in Nigeria. Nigeria is a very wealthy country. For example,
that's also part of what the law is seeking to achieve, that the rich will pay taxes more as against the poor.
And I believe that some of these wealthy, rich people are the ones making use of some of this medium just to fight back against this problem. Because
how do you mean?
Yeah, what I mean is that, for example, I won't want to mention some names, but if some billionaires are paying taxes in this country, our GDP is going to increase, our economy is going to do better. So this tax reform bill is also focused on these rich people, where they are going to get more taxes from them. And also, people don't know that there's exemption in these tax reform bills. For example, there are some particular products in Nigeria which will not be taxed. And I believe some are even in the health sector, some medical products, some drugs, diapers for children, pads, things like that are not going to be taxed. But nobody is looking into it. Things which I encourage should be heavily taxed. Things like cigarettes, because it's harmful to the health. Alcohol should be more taxed. Foreign products coming into the country. Luxuries, cars. For example, a friend of mine paid $8,000 just to bring a car through the custom to Nigeria.
So that shouldn't be all cars that should be taxed.
Cars in Nigeria, made in Nigeria products, should be encouraged. So this tax reform bill should be well-oriented, more town hall meetings. I'm happy it is passed through the second reading in the Senate and the National Assembly. The House of Rep also, they are also debating on it. Then also, independent bodies are talking about it. So I believe it's going to be a success if the proper channel of tax reform is done. Value-added tax has been also put in forward, and different things which will also make the government have more income and be able to distribute it efficiently and equitably.
But you could narrow down the issues in the bills to the issue of derivation under the new VAT policy that the new bills are bringing on board, if of course it is passed into law and the president gives his assent. So if you narrow down the northern governor's side, though we are seeing some of them be changing their minds and all of that, it may not be correct to say all the northern governors are against the bill. But now they're talking about the issue of derivation. What is currently in operation is that VAT is calculated according to equality, according to derivation. But under the new, what is being envisioned now under the new bill is going to be solely on derivation. And they're saying it's going to increase the disparities. It's going to give Lagos, it's going to give Rivers State an edge. Is that your understanding too?
Absolutely. Currently, the VAT is 7.5%, and in 2025, it's going to increase to 10%. 2030, it's projected to even increase to 15%. Anywhere in the world, a state that is producing cannot get the same with another state. And the North shouldn't look at it as if it is only their region that is going to suffer. In the Southwest here, Ekiti State is one of the poorest states in terms of the derivation, but Ekiti is not really making much noise about it. Lagos State has been producing a lot in terms of taxation, in terms of economy. It's like the economic nerve of the state. Rivers State also in terms of oil, Niger Delta State. So we cannot compare states that are giving back to the state, to the federal government, to have the same benefits with states that are not doing much. That's just the reality of economy. And it's not only in Nigeria this happens, also in the Western world. In New York, for example, where they generate billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, they don't get the same as Ohio, which doesn't do that. So we shouldn't look at it as a political tool where some people in the North are just using it against the presidency. But I also believe that the presidency, especially the Ministry of Finance, the Attorney General of the Federation, should be able to explain. One of the things I would have suggested is that before the tax reform bill was even passed or sent to the Senate or National Assembly, there should have been a Council of State meeting. There should have been a meeting between all the 36 state governors and the president himself.
The federal government says there were meetings across the country.
They had the next meeting.
Yes, even Council of State also met. I think they were like the first group to come out to oppose the bill.
So they did meet, but did they explain in details about it? And also, there should also have been a caucus meeting in the National Assembly even. That is how it's done in the US. There is a caucus meeting where the key players, even in the Senate, will have been oriented, because for a senator like Ali Ndume, who is a veteran senator, to say it is dead on arrival.
And a leader from the ruling party.
From that party,
so,
it is surprising.
So, Dr. Harun, how do we address the concerns and the misconceptions that we are having concerning these tax reform bills? Because some have criticized that this will lead to increased tax, multiple taxation, and the like. So how do we address all those issues? On the contrary, it is going to even lead to a single taxation. Because when the tax reform bill is passed, we are not going to be having multiple taxations as we are having currently. It's just going to be a single taxation. Secondly, is that it has to be addressed both politically, economically, and also socially, in terms of orienting people. The social media is one of the tools. Television stations are one of the means. Political means, senators like Ali Ndume and others, governors, I think there should be a political resolution. The same way the presidency... How do you mean political solutions?
Now, I'm not a politician, but there's a way the politicians know how to pass ideas along each other. I'll give you a good example. When the election for the Senate came, there was a way the APC politically negotiated. It is political, it is permissible.
You are not carrying Nigerians along with your analysis. So how do you educate the ordinary Nigerian there that is not even aware about this development?
That's absolutely true. Many Nigerians are not aware. So I believe the federal ministry, the government should do more on social media. And many Nigerians, especially the Gen Zs, are on social media. As you and I are talking today, many of them don't still know what tax reform bill is. Many of them just feel it's going to impoverish them. Many of them don't really know the nitty-gritty of this bill. So I believe that we should use the power of media, power of education, social media, television stations, newspapers. We should educate them more to know the benefit they are also going to get in the tax reform bills.
Does it matter to them, to the ordinary person on the street? Because the presidency has also said these bills are pro-masses. So is it enough for the masses to run with that assurance from the president? Or where you are, from an informed perspective, does it matter? How do these bills, matter to the masses? Okay,
I'll give an example or analogy. In health, if you want to give a child an injection, the child just feels you want to hurt him or her. But you need to explain to the child the benefits of this medication to the body generally. It's going to treat malaria, it's going to treat typhoid, it's going to treat all the conditions you have. In terms of the populace also, I believe that the government have a major role in educating them. That is why they have senators, they have House of Reps, they even have local government chairmen, they have representatives at the grassroots level where they should pass this bill, they should pass this information about this bill. So it does matter for them to understand the benefits of the bill and how it's going to benefit them.
Especially if you want to narrow it down again, because you have said that it is international best practice that producing states will earn more than states that are not producing.
Absolutely.
So perhaps this can now nudge constituents, you for example, a governor, this may now nudge your constituents now to put a demand on the kind of governance that they want in their state, and hopefully it will not be business as usual.
Absolutely. Right. Look at the example of the governor of Nasarawa State. Initially, he opposed the bill, and he had been informed about it. After some negotiations, deliberations, and politicking, he eventually came out publicly to admit that, okay, yes, he was a major stakeholder in Dangote before, and he also knows that there has to be tax reforms. Some major companies have to be taxed. Some companies who are earning billions of dollars have to be taxed so that the masses can benefit. So I believe that they still have to do a lot. You see, there are lots of things they do in reforms. You do it before, you do it during, and you even do it after. So I believe they still have to keep informing the people about taxation and why it is beneficial for the economy to survive. One major thing I want to bring up again is, look at the federal allocation. It has increased from 11 trillion, it has increased to 16 trillion naira. So you look at the massive amount. These governors need to do a lot. He was asked on air, on live TV, what has he used this amount for? He said, oh, he has bought 10,000 acres of land. But the primary role of the governor, a governor in the north.
Okay.
A governor in the north said, "Oh, what have you used?" Well, it was still the same governor of Nasarawa State, and he himself said that Governor Sule, that he has used he said he admitted, and he said, I quote, "I admit President Tinubu has given us more federal allocation compared to even when he was under President Buhari, because he's a two-time governor."
Indeed.
But he also said, "I've used this money, come to Nasarawa and you will see I've used this money to buy 10,000 acres of land." That is laudable. But you also have to look at education of the people. How many people have you educated? How many people have you provided scholarship for? How well has each of these governors used this federal allocation to provide subsidy? It's not only federal government that does subsidy. They can also go to their local markets and pump in money to reduce the cost of feeding.
That calls to the question of what dividends of democracy will this tax reform bills give to Nigerians? Because some will say we've been paying tax all over the years. We've not seen the benefit. There are no good roads, no light, no good portable water. These are some of the basic necessities that Nigerians should have.
Absolutely. I was in Lagos State University Teaching Hospital just yesterday, and after returning from the US, within a decade, I was able to see some of the benefits in Lagos State. They are building more hospital buildings, the CCU, the ICU. You now have one they call Millennium Development Building, just close to the gate. The pediatric building is there, surgical building. So I believe all other states should emulate and follow suit. The funds they are getting from the federal government, they should not just embezzle it or siphon it or divert it into other things. Or like a former governor said, he was saving the money. The money is not to be saved. The federal government or state governments are not just banks to save money. No. They have to use this money for health care, for education, for economy, subsidy, to also make roads, to make more buildings. So I believe this benefits of tax reform is not only with the federal government, as it is being misconstrued. They say, oh, everything federal government. For example, people want to go on strike, they are going straight to the federal government. No. We should also hold our governors accountable. And now we have local government chairmen who are going to be getting funds directly. They should also hold each local government chairman responsible for these funds they are getting, because certainly they have all admitted that they are getting more money than they've gotten before due to the removal of subsidy, due to the increase in allocation, due to the revenue, and also due to the promise of their government, of the federal government, to support them. So the government is doing well supporting them. How are they doing to support their people?
All right, big question, and we thank you very much for your insights on this. Public policy analyst, Dr. Yusuf Harun.
Well, I can see that he's fully prepared for us this morning.
Thanks a lot for your time, and we wish you